Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I also have a twice-a-week long-form podcast that I drop new episodes every Tuesdays and Fridays, where it's long-form interviews. And rest assured, you guys, anybody who appears on my content, whether it's the podcast or the live show here, are transportation professionals, all right? There's no wannabe thought leaders. There's no people who think trucks are cool. This is actually people who are vested over the course of their career in the transportation industry to provide you guys value that you can, in especially education, that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business out there. You guys, again, it's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly the American flag behind me. Not only is this the greatest nation on earth, but I'm living my American dream, and myself and all my guests want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well. So we're going to do this. I do have a guest today. We're going to talk about some proposed legislation and stuff that's out there. And we'll dive into that. But before we get into that, as always, you guys, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers. And especially for all my drivers out there, my owner ops, small fleets, you should never have to shut your operation down because you guys have a trailer in the shop. And the best part about with what they have, you guys, you get paid to move these trailers. That's right. You get paid on top of the revenue that you can get for loading out these trailers. So what they're working on right now, they got Milton, Ontario going to Montreal. You get 250 Canadian on that one. They also have Galt, California going out to Hutchins, Texas, 500 US to do that. San Diego, California, out to Houston, Texas, $1,400 to do that. And then finally, they got West Valley City, Utah, going up to Calgary, Alberta, and you get $1,550 to do that. And again, you guys, that's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading that trailer up. So hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friends, Stacy Steen and Xavier Campos, they'll be in the audience. When you hit them up, just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. All right, Caroline Lyle, let's fucking go. Good morning to you. Drew Driscoll, Axel Logistics in the house. Hope you had a good Christmas as well, brother. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning to you as well. Whitney Young, good morning to you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas as well. And Whitney thinks trucks are cool, which is awesome. Whitney's watching over on YouTube, you guys. And hey, if you guys are tuning in over on those other channels, or if you're hitting up the audio-only replay of this on iTunes and Spotify, if you guys could do your boy a solid and subscribe and share, that's all I ask. You know, subscribe, share the show, rank the show. It helps with all this stuff because at the end of the day, you guys, if you guys see value in this, chances are your network's going to see value in it as well. All right, I'm going to bring my guest up. We're not going to waste any time. Second time appearance out here, Mr. Josh Kraus. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Chris?
Oh, dude, I can't complain, man. It's I'm living in the greatest state on earth in the middle of winter, and that's Arizona. You know, so while I'm sitting back and watching road conditions deteriorate and talking to all of my family in northern Wisconsin and Minnesota, where I grew up. All right. I spent 25-year prison sentence up there. I moved away because of the winters, what you guys are going through right now. So I don't want to hear that he's soft because I am soft now. And I'm sitting in shorts because it's going to be fucking 70 here today. What's up?
Dude, Friday morning, I got in my car to go play basketball at 5:45 in the morning. It was -9 degrees. I've lived in Kansas a long time. I don't remember the last time that my car had a readout in the negative number. I didn't even know where the minus was on the deal. I was looking at it, and it was so cold when I got out of the gym after taking a shower. My beard froze, and I don't just leave it dripping wet. Like I was properly manicured, and it just got crunchy. I had to pull my hoodie up over my mouth. Oh, yeah. Needless to say, on Saturday I did not go outside at all. So, yeah.
I did. It was nice out on Saturday in Arizona.
Hey, thanks for rubbing it in, bro. I appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? I get so much shit over the summers here when it's like 112. But again, knowing both sides of the spectrum, Josh, I'll take 112 for like 100 straight days over what the fuck my family in Minnesota are going through right now, where it's 35 below with the wind chill. Fuck that.
and 7 feet of snow. Everybody's got to get out there, their freaking tractors to plow the driveway.
Dude, that's exactly it, man. Aaron, what's up? Good morning. Good fucking morning from Phoenix. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Phoenix or Arizona is the freight capital of North America. I'm proclaiming that. It's a thing now. Freight Alley and Chicago, you're out. It's Phoenix now. Freight Valley, as my boys over at or my friends over at Freight Vana had coined. It's Freight Valley now because that's the nickname out here in Phoenix is the Valley. So
Nice.
yeah, man. Dude, we're at day 187 of the live show, man. We're on an absolute roll. We'll hit 190 by the end of this year, which is insane because I just started this up earlier this year because as most people, well, at least me, I'm sick and tired of fucking mainstream media and their antics out there and everything else. And we're just here to provide insight into a lot of the core fundamental issues that this industry is facing instead of like just talking about a problem and being like, oh, hey, the building's on fire. Fuck those guys, let it burn. We're actually here to solve some of these things. And, like obviously one of them hot button issues, when you look at the polls from the actual drivers, truck parking, safe and secure facilities, access to, a bathroom to take a shower, not even at shippers and receivers, man, like out on the road, access to those things are like, that's being denied. And to me, like, this isn't like a game. Like, I don't talk about this stuff for the vanity metrics of things. I talk about this stuff because I know for a fact, nothing's going to change unless us as an industry does something to change it. Otherwise, we're going to be in the exact same position where, again, growing up in a family of truck drivers, and some of them are still fortunately with me and I'm able to talk to them still. It's like it's just on repeat. We've been dealing with the same shit for the last 30 years or the last 35 years. And you ask yourself, why hasn't it changed? And then what we're going to talk about here today. And sorry, I can't update fuel prices, you guys, because, as always, the government doesn't work. So they needed these last couple of days to spend more of our money and not update the national average for fuel. But anyways, you guys, it was at $4.59 a gallon, which it is a welcome sight to see it trending down. Let's just get it back down to 2019 and 2018 levels where it was a lot cooler to fill up at the pump. But yeah, man. So the legislation that got introduced was I'll let you take of it because Josh hit me up it was pretty much right before Christmas and he's like, we got to talk about this. I'm like, fuck yeah, we do. So
once again, Josh Krause, I'm the COO at OTR Leasing and Fox Point. We are a company that provides solutions to drivers, and one of the things I as Chris has been blessed with. My family are educators. They are not truckers. So I've been grafted into this industry over the last 5-7 years. And what I've realized is that when a mainstream media, however you define that, when there's an article out about a driver shortage, they're not talking to your listeners who only have, 10, 12, 2, 16 trucks. They're talking to JB Hunt. They're talking to USA Truck, which is fine, right? Those are the big boys. But sometimes in that corporateness of that answer, they kind of miss the pulse of what's going on the boots on the ground. And that's when I came across your podcast, Chris, and I really, really resonated with how you start every podcast out with, these are the problems that are facing. And when I saw this legislation come across my desk, as I told you in the pre-show, I couldn't but think of you and be like, oh man, I wonder how Jolly's going to respond to this. So I'll just jump right in.
Yeah.
In the codified U.S. Code of Law, there is I think it's called Title 49. And Title 49 is specific to transportation, and it lays out all of the law for Department of Transportation, other government agencies, everything involving rail, motor vehicle, aviation, pipelines, intermodals, all that sort of stuff. There has been a bipartisan bill that has passed the House of Representatives, and this is the part where I get embarrassed, where we are going to, as a country, as a government, make it a federal law that shippers and receivers have to provide bathroom facilities for drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my response to that is, how this is it legitimately. I'm at a loss for words. And how do we at the cusp of 2023 call ourselves and be proud of ourselves when you can't, pardon my language, take a piss
Mm-hmm.
at the place where you dropped off the load for, or where you picked it up. Like, name me another industry where there's a restrictions on bathroom that doesn't cause the people to riot.
Yeah.
Right?
And I do see both sides of it, but where I draw the line is how, if somebody's going to be there for multiple hours, how don't you let them leave? How don't you say, go to the truck stop, get out there, and then we'll call you when your trailer's ready, or something along those lines? Because, like, again, I see both sides. Like, I have friends that are shippers. I understand, like, their facilities personally don't, like, they allow drivers to use the restrooms and everything there, but they explained it. They're like, hey, listen, like, I would assume this is what it is. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Because, again, I've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry. I don't talk about some of those things because, like, I don't do this for fucking likes and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to talk about what I know would get higher engagement for the short term, because that only benefits me. That doesn't benefit the industry. I can see why certain facilities do that, but I cannot understand. I can't fathom why they won't be like, hey, it's going to be 4 hours, drop your trailer, go to the truck stop, we'll call you when it's ready, or go to this facility, like something. And then for
let
me,
me hit JD Redmond up here. He said 95% of the C-suite has never seen or experienced the life of a professional truck driver.
JD, what's up?
JD, I agree wholeheartedly. And I'm new to this role, sitting as a C-suite executive, and I need you to know, I didn't get granted this. I busted my ass off to get it by listening to the drivers that we have in our fleet. We have 1,500. And so understanding that the driver has to come first is the mentality. And this ties back to exactly what you're saying, Jolly. There's so much empirical data to how a truck driver lives their life, right? You telematics and studies and all this sort of stuff. The reality is this bill fundamentally proves that the driver has absolutely zero respect from the top level inside of the current industry. And it's not a driver shortage, right? It's simply a lack of respect and of pay.
It's a retention issue to me, Josh. It's a retention issue. Rob, I got to give some shout outs here. Rob Cameron, good morning. Nathan Granada, amen. Thanks for joining in here. Bob, what's up? Good morning. Thanks for joining. Leticia, great day to you as well. And JD's comment here, you guys, 95% of the C-suite has never seen nor experienced the life of a professional truck driver. Rick Wooten, good morning. And then Rob Cameron said he says he refuses to deliver to large DCs as a driver. They treat like slaves and have zero respect. No thanks. And then after this, I'm trying. See, that's what we can't have happen though. Like, I get.
we as drivers, as the industry, as brokers, as the front line for the guys and gals out behind the wheel, we've got to break the cycle and take the higher road, even though, for lack of a better term, you've been dealt the hand of disrespect for so long. Driver, go lay by your dish, right? Is the mentality that people have. And trust me, I've seen it. You go to a big old distribution center and you sit there for 5 hours and your clock is running and you can't get paid any more money and you're done for the day because of some decision that somebody else made impacting you. And that's, gosh, and I can listen, speaking problems without solutions is just a nice way of saying that you're bitching. I don't want to sit here on your show for likes and karma and clout to just complain. I think there are palpable solutions out there. And I think some of them deal with directly being a broker. Hold your freaking carriers accountable. Hold your receivers accountable. Don't let detention be so high.
I think, well, see, here's the thing. And this is something that a lot of brokers don't want to talk about here in regards to detention, for example. I have, again, take this for what it's worth. I've only moved 3 truckloads in my career. Complete sarcasm, you guys. But I have only come across less than 10 facilities in the entirety of my career that didn't pay detention. All right. Detention is out there. Whether a broker requests it or not, I don't know. Okay. I can't speak on that. I'm just speaking off of my experience. Detention's out there. I call people out on this all the time. If you request detention, if you request layovers as a broker, and you turn that into a profit center for yourself, go fuck yourself. All right. That money belongs to the driver. I think it's a very simple transaction. If a customer, again, you guys, we're not like, as a broker, I never got $187,000 for detention like that. That's not a real number. But if a customer pre-negotiates with you on the front end, $75 an hour, as a broker, you need to transfer that $75 per hour to the driver, whatever that number is. If it's a layover I've had some shippers, depending upon the size of them, some inside of their RFP agreement have their accessorial schedule laid out in there, whether it's $150 for a layover, $250 for a layover, whatever that looks like. That is a flow through, pass that to the driver and go. Now, again, you guys, as always, I understand the realities of this industry, okay? Mm-hmm. But my point is if you're going to sit there as a broker and withhold that compensation, that indirectly gives your shipper a bad name. So I think where we get to this point, Josh, is that there's some people out there who they got sticky fingers, they want an extra $100 for themselves. And then that turns into, it just spirals out of control to me. Right. But again, it's like, as a broker, if you're going to be out there, and again, I'm a broker, I own a brokerage, I do this, I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm not on a pedestal. I fucked up a lot in my career. As I always say, I don't know everything. I just know a lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
And my philosophy is simple. If a customer is paying me $400 for detention, that goes straight to the driver every single time. Okay. Because that is how you build a carrier date. Like, that's how you build carrier loyalty. Because again, as a broker, and this is the thing that always gets me, as a broker, I have no business, I have no company, I have nothing without my carrier partners. So I don't understand why that drives in. And especially, like, I know it's tough out there to build businesses, you guys, and I understand why some people don't want to have these difficult conversations. But if I'm working with somebody, and again, if a driver comes to me and says, hey, this person said this, or this person did that, or they're not allowing me to do that, you do your due diligence. All right. Contact the facility, see what's going on. If they're like, yeah, we don't allow this, I don't want to work with that style of shipper. And again, they're few and far between. All right. They're few and far between in my experience. I haven't found a lot of them out there. I know that trends on social media a lot, that it seems like every fucking shipper and receiver in North America doesn't allow this. That's not entirely the case. We only see what people are directing it to want us to see. But this is a very large issue that is out there, because nobody should ever have to do it. All right. Like, no driver should ever show up somewhere and be like, hey, it's going to be 6 hours. Oh, you can't leave. And they just busted their ass to get there overnight because, I don't know, this weekend, half the fucking country was under snow. And then they show up, and then their lack of sleep, they can't leave. They got to sit there for 6 hours. They can't use the bathroom. They don't have any food. They got nothing. Where's the fucking human decency of it? And that's what bothers me about why this is even being tied on. Because it's like, where is the human decency to where it's like, I don't care. You're not like, just be like, hey, dude, just drop your trailer. Come back in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour. We'll be done with you at that time anyways. That's pretty much the average offload time is about an hour, for the most part. I don't know. I get,
in the middle of all that, Chris, you're right? Like, you got the flag behind you, right? And listen, if you ever want to run a podcast on patriotism, I need to be, if I'm not guest number one, I want to meet guest number one, right? But one of the pure powers of capitalism is just as Rob said, if you know who you want to work for and you stop working for the bad and only work for the good, then capitalism will arrive. Either you'll get paid enough to deal with the crap that you can make that judgment call on, or the other people will have to fix how they do things. And trust me, I am in the same boat that you are. I don't know what the hell I'm doing 95% of the time, but 100% of the time I know what I shouldn't do, right? Like I know the mistakes that I've made. And one of the mistakes we made as a company that I made was we didn't think about the driver. And in 2020, we stopped doing that. We flipped everything. And if we hold to, there's a quote by a guy by the name of Andy Stanley. He says, is what's spoken in the halls trumping what is written on the walls? Meaning, are you actually doing what you say you are? And we believe that the customer's success is our success. And if the customer comes first, they're human beings. They're your neighbors. They're people. And by simply offering them the opportunity, and Chris, I like where you're going. It's not just to use the facilities and splash water on your face and use the restroom. It's, hey man, you're going to be here for 5 hours because of something that you're not in control of. So let me jot down your cell phone number. I'll send you a text when you're next in line. Why don't you head on over to the Flying J or whatever and come back and we'll pick up right where you're left. There's no need there. And if you did that as a distribution facility, think how many drivers want to drive loads to where you're at.
I just think that is what is going to come about a lot of this, Josh, is because I feel like a lot of facilities, a lot of brokers, I know this is what I'm doing at Freight Coach Logistics. I like my sole purpose is to be a broker of choice to carriers, because I know, again, obviously carriers and customers as a broker to me are 1A and 1B of importance. It's completely interchangeable. You can't have one without the other. I get it. I'm an intermediary. Right. All right. But for me personally, I got to have that balance. I have to have both. I have to have a core carrier base and I have to have a core customer base. But I think the next 5 to 10 years, I'm really excited about, because like, I know I'm just going to continue to get louder and louder about this shit. And eventually people aren't going to ever be able to be like, oh, it's just some fucking.
They're going to be forced to respond to you.
Yeah, it's some douchebag with a backwards hat spouting into a mic. It'll be like, fuck, he's got a top ranked podcast in the world, Yeah. But I feel like there is a lot of, I think that there is a lot of opportunity for the facilities that are doing the right thing, and the shippers, the brokers, the trucking companies, all of them, have an opportunity to raise their standards, and you're going to become so much more valuable out there in the market. Because again, I think that the bottom feeders are always going to be there. And this is why I don't talk about a lot of bottom feeder mentality on my shit to me, because like that doesn't gain, like nobody gains from that. Because again, I always look at it like this, man, there's businesses out there that, again, there's no playbook to any of this shit. Like that's the big problem with social media, is they're like, oh, you should just be fucking perfect 24. Nobody's perfect. But again, if people hear this and they're like, hey, maybe I'm going to change my ways now, you have a fucking solid opportunity to start now, to change your ways. Maybe you don't even know you're doing this, and to point it in the right direction. Like listening to this show. And again, take it for a little self-promotion or what, but like reading into a lot of these articles to find out, be like, yeah, you know what? I don't agree with that. I'm going to change course here and operate this way. You're going to see massive growth. You're going to see massive growth, and it's going to be undeniable, because if you raise your standards personally, it all starts with the individual. It all starts with the individual. You raise your personal standards, you will fucking be leaps and bounds ahead of so many people.
It's very similar to some level of an abusive relationship. Truck drivers have to fight with almost everybody almost all the time, right? In the middle of that, the moment that you, whether you're the driver or you're the intermediary, Chris, the moment that you start to increase the level of respect and do what you would, I hate to be so freaking cliche, right? The golden rule, right? But if you treat other people the way that they want to be treated, right? That's the little spin on it. If you treat them the way that they want to be treated, and back to what JD said, you've got to know what drivers want. You got to know what carriers want. You got to know what the shippers want. You got to know what people want to be able to do that. So you can't just be some bum off the street, even though that's kind of what I am. But in the middle of that, if you know what your customer base needs and you can provide that, you're absolutely correct, Chris. You are just going to win. You keep coming back to what Rob's saying. What do you got?
Well, no, I know, because I want to bring this up because he's right though. Like that, like he brings up a very valid point there. Again, presentation is a very real thing, and I don't like. I again, back to like holding yourself to higher standards. Like I understand that there's a lot of unfavorable shit that can happen out there, but again, if you hold yourself to a higher standard and you don't engage, and that if somebody's being disrespectful to you, like literally just be the bigger person and walk away, and then just don't go back, or whatever you got to do. Like Correct. This is what Rob's bringing up here is something that isn't talked about a lot, is like he says, he can also say there's unprofessional drivers who walk in with flip-flops and pajamas, dropping piss drugs, and then they ruin it for the professional drivers. Exactly. And Rob, to like what I'm talking about is like, if we elevate the best practices, man, all that shit will work itself out. It will work itself out.
a rising tide lifts all ships.
Yes.
Right. So what'll happen is that unprofessional driver coming in, all of a sudden, no one's going to want to use him because of the feedback that you're getting, right? Or that his boss is getting, or that he's even getting. It's no different than what you're saying, Chris. And I couldn't agree more. Leveling up the entire industry will only be better for all of us that are doing things the right way. And who said it? Nathan. 23 is going to be an eye opener. You bet your butt. And it's not just an eye opener for shady businesses. It's going to be an eye opener for everybody, because the people that are winning, as you look around and you look at your competitors and say, hey, what are they doing? You're going to realize that it's, oh, they actually give a damn. Oh, there's actually a high level of respect here. That's why they're not having retention problems.
I just think that we again, it's the solutions piece of it that, again, the fact that something like this was even introduced to me is fucking insane, but
like I said, I'm embarrassed.
But to me, the solution, Nathan says, if they aren't taking time to dress professionally, they aren't doing a pre-trip and flip-flops. And again, you guys, it's what can we do as an industry? What can we do to raise the standards up? Because I think that the bathrooms issue is a symptom of what Rob brought up there and other things. Like, I think some facilities just got to a point where they're like, fuck this. I can't staff somebody to clean the bathroom 24/7 because people are doing, this type of behaviors. And again, if you hold yourself to higher standards out there, but again, I understand that there's also facilities that, whatever their policy is their policy, but allow the person to leave if you're not going to allow that to happen at your facility. There's no perfect answer right away for this, except for raising your own personal standards. Yeah, I think that's where you start, whether you're a driver, broker, because, again, brokers have a lot more say in a lot of these situations, but a lot of them are so fucking soft and on eggshells with a lot of their customers as is. They're afraid to do anything. But again, what they're actually doing is costing themselves business. Again, you guys, when I use these examples, I use myself in my previous moments in my career as that example, because I was that. All right. And then I finally hit a point where I was sick and tired of all the bullshit. And then it's amazing when you actually are transparent, as everybody loves to boast about on social media, right, how easy it is to find a core carrier and a core customer base that actually build a truly beneficial relationship. And I will argue with any motherfucker who wants to say that it can't be done, because that means that you're not fucking trying hard enough, because it can be done. Because the overwhelming majority of the drivers on the road, they want consistency. They want that consistent business. They want to work with the right brokers. All right. That's what they want. They don't want to just work with any broker. They want to work with the right brokers. And again, if you're asking yourself that, hey, why isn't it happening to me? Look at your fucking processes. What aren't you doing? All right. How many times do you send in a driver to a facility and you don't have a PO number, or you don't have an accurate weight, or you don't have an appointment time or anything like that because you're fucking lazy? All right. That happens all the time. So again, I wouldn't want to work with you either. I think that the honest solution to a lot of this is it's got to start with the individual. Yeah. All right. It doesn't matter if you're an entry-level person or you've been doing this for 30 years. Look at yourself, be like, what can I do differently? How can I elevate my standards personally and professionally to raise the bar out there?
Yeah. Another again, sorry, being so cliche, but when you accept mediocrity, it becomes you. And with that, if a driver is looking for the right broker, then not only be that broker, but be the driver too, right? Don't be the guy doing your pre-trip in flip-flops, right? Or just skipping it, right? Like, I'm correct. Chris, you're right. It's personal accountability. It's raising the level of professionalism, each person at a time. We can't change the industry in 30 minutes on a podcast, right? But what we can do is continually challenge people to increase their own specific levels of success and get higher and higher and higher, once again, so that everything gets better.
No, absolutely. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to talk about this stuff, you guys, because again, legislation isn't going to change shit. All right. The government's not here. They're not going to fucking help. They don't give a fuck We got to fix this stuff. All right. No elected official is going to come and change your life.
Hold on, Chris. I think what we should do is we should petition our senators to go ahead and put together like a 250 to 270,000 person organization that just can monitor all the restrooms along interstate highways. And I think more government is probably the answer.
Yeah, there you go. Fuck with it. The way that we're just blowing money right now, you might as well.
Right.
Anyways, you got
sarcasm.
Yeah, well, I got you. Well, shit, you guys, that's it for today. That was a quick 30. As I was Josh, how does anybody to reach out to you and find out more about you and what you're doing?
Sure. I'm most active on LinkedIn. So I think it's linked here. Find me on LinkedIn. There's a couple of you that interacted with the show that I'll reach out, friend requests and connections. But please direct message me on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And I'm pretty quick to respond.
Perfect. And that's it for today, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow, the Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation. The audio-only replay of this will be out on the podcast, which is over on iTunes and Spotify under the Coffee with the Freight Coach umbrella. The YouTube channel video replay is immediately available. And if you guys do jump over to those other platforms, you can do your boy a solid, subscribe, share the show, rank the show. It just helps it because at the end of the day, you guys, it's a value exchange. And if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in this as well. Nathan threw me off. Yeah, page 2000. Exactly. Term limits. Because at the end of the day, you guys, if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
As a consumer of podcasts, you guys reviewing the podcast with 5 stars or whatever it is will draw so much more attention than anything else, right? Liking and sharing is fantastic. Reviewing it also helps so much. That's how I found this place because people reviewed it. So
perfect. Well, reviewed as well, as always, you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.